Hey everyone, in today's video, I'm going to be walking you through my recommended process for optimizing your Facebook ad account in 2025 using cost caps or ROAS goals specifically, or cost controls. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear sense of how I approach scaling budgets, adjusting bids, and finding the sweet spot between efficiency and volume. Let's dive straight into it. So, before we start and jump into the practical steps of making actual optimizations, I want to define cost per result goal bidding, which is also, of course, cost caps. Now, you'll be surprised maybe by the way that Meta defines it, and I think it's really important to understand this. Meta says the goal amount you provide is an average amount we try to deliver against over the campaign lifetime, while dynamically bidding as high as needed to maximize results. This means that the average cost per result may exceed the set amount. So you're setting your bid, and Meta may or may not exceed that cost per result goal because it is going to bid an average CPA over the attribution window, meaning that it can bid both above your CPA target that you're setting and below as well. And once an ad set has exited the learning phase, delivery should stabilize, and we'll aim to optimize your campaign accordingly to the cost per result goal that you specify, but it's not guaranteed. You may see costs exceed the goal that you set. And if you typically observe conversions over a much longer time window than 7 days post-click, you may observe stronger fluctuation in spend and CPA. However, performance should stabilize over time. And by the way, this does directly apply to ROAS goal bidding as well. All right, and one more thing before we talk about optimizations is going over the basics. I want to recap this to make sure we all are on the same page. You need to set your cost cap or your ROAS goal based on an assumption of an average order value. You can get this AOV assumption by looking at Google Analytics data of a landing page that you're sending traffic to, or just using the MSRP from the landing page if it really is that simple and you have one average order value, or use a blended average order value if it's a landing page with a collection of products. If you have a large variety of average order values on your collection page, you can consider using ROAS goal bidding as your bid strategy. Also, for step 2, calculate your daily budget based on your CPA times 7.14. This is just another way to calculate CPA times 50 conversions divided by 7. Reminder, the 50 conversions you need in 1 week to exit the learning phase, and 7 days being 7 days in a week. Lastly, let Meta spend within that structure. It's very important to get actual data behind the campaign and give the algorithm time to do its job. For example, you're literally saying, Meta, I want you to get me conversions within 7 days of a customer clicking on this advertisement, meaning you need to give it some grace and time to optimize and be able to learn and then gain those conversions from those customers. If customers are going to take a long time to consider purchasing your product, then you need to give the ads time to perform as well. Talk about making Facebook ads optimizations. Here are the 4 core ideas I'm going to talk about in this video, and we're going to break down each of these. So 1 is assessing risk and how aggressive you should be with your actual adjustments to your cost controls, as well as the cost control rules and analyzing different campaigns, how you should do that and my best practices, as well as balancing volume and efficiency. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about sales strategy because it's really important and something often overlooked or maybe even misunderstood. All right, so let's talk about assessing risk and how aggressive you should be with your adjustments. So the goal overall is to adjust your bids and budgets as little as physically possible. This is because we want to reduce human intervention on the ad account, because Meta has significantly more data than we have and will always make a more informed and better decision than a human can make. And if you're off course, you can course correct quickly to reduce downside by making that larger adjustment, and you can get out of the learning phase faster because you hopefully won't have to make a bunch of adjustments throughout the week to try to get it into the right efficiency spot that you want. Next, let's talk about cost control rules. In general, with cost caps, you want to try to make sure that you are never limiting the auction inventory that your campaign can spend against. Meaning, if you have a daily budget of $500 and every single day you're delivering that full $500 and hitting your efficiency target, you're actually leaving money on the table that you could have spent while getting the efficiency that you need. You should be inflating your budget potentially 2 or 3 times that level of spend in order to capture more auction inventory and win more auctions for that campaign. And so the 3 rules when you're running cost controls is, if you're fully delivering your daily budget every single day and you're hitting your efficiency target, inflate that daily budget 2 to 3x, or as much as honestly you're willing to spend. Don't leave any cash on the table. Now, we've already talked about this a little bit, but I want to get really specific with balancing volume and efficiency, because this is the exercise that I do every single day and also train media buyers to do every single day. These are the 4 questions you should be asking yourself every day when you open up your ad account. Can I get more volume from this campaign? If so, can I be more aggressive in bidding to capture that volume? Or do I need better efficiency, i.e. lower CPAs? How aggressive do I want to be in lowering my average CPA range over the next attribution window? If you need more volume, you can open up your cost cap, and you can be a little or a lot more aggressive depending on your risk tolerance there. And if you need better efficiency, tighten or lower your cost cap, keeping in mind that Meta will still bid above and below your target, so think about how conservative you want to be in that adjustment. Here's an example of an ad account where I think there could be better adjustments. For example, your target ROAS is a 2.1, and let's just for fun say that this is over the course of a 14-day window, okay? So if I'm looking at a 14-day window and I see something like these campaigns, and I know my target is a 2.1 ROAS, I can see a campaign here that spent 10.3K at a 3.31 ROAS when my target's a 2.1. This campaign could likely capture significantly more volume, and I bet you if we look on a daily basis, it's probably capping out its daily budget and could probably have a more inflated budget to capture a lot more efficiency. And then there are campaigns like this that, honestly are in a decent spot. I'm not going to roast this campaign too much, but then there are situations like these guys right here, a 1.47 with $3,500 spend. That spend could easily have been reallocated to a campaign like this that's absolutely crushing it and could handle a lot more vertical scale. So in these cases, you want to, of course, we're going to look at those campaigns. I like to manually filter for these campaigns, or you can even put them into a spreadsheet. Like at CTC, we actually have a growth map where we have columns that track and have an expectation of spend and ROAS for every single campaign across every single day of the entire month. And this is the type of insight you get from a system like this, is being able to identify campaigns that are not on track to hitting the correct efficiency targets, and then being able to course correct those campaigns and get them back on track. Campaigns like this especially spent $2,000, only 16 conversions at a 0.58. That needs to be course corrected, and that cost control needs to be adjusted if it hasn't been already. And then campaigns like this with a 1.11 also need to be course corrected and adjusted. And even campaigns like this top spender over a 14-day window with a significant amount of conversion volume, we could likely tighten that cost control a little bit more to get it into the right place where we're actually going to get the 2.1 ROAS against the volume that we want. And likely the additional spend we could just funnel straight into this campaign, which is going to be much more incremental for the business because that campaign is able to handle a lot more spend. All right, and lastly, let's talk about how to make adjustments pre and post sale. You have to understand that Meta works on probabilistic forecasting, looking at historical data coupled with future conversion data, or the actual conversions that you're getting every single day. And Meta has no idea when you're going to have a sale. There's no way to tell it necessarily, of course, unless you're launching sale campaigns, but likely it takes time for it to pick up on the increase in your expected conversion rate during a sale. And so what's important to do is during a sale, you should actually aim to open up your cost controls preemptively, because Meta doesn't know that there's about to be that huge increase in expected conversion rate. And so you want to actually open up your cost caps to signal to the algorithm that you're ready to spend and willing to bid higher, because you'll be able to win those auctions. So to reiterate, the day of the sale, it's best practice to increase your cost controls. And I'm going to honestly leave it up to you how much you want to increase your cost caps. Remember, you know my stance on being more aggressive with your cost control adjustments, and it's better to take bigger swings in my opinion. And during a sale, especially when it's probably important to hit your spend volume targets, it's good to open up your cost controls, and I'd likely find a sweet spot that, of course, makes sense from a unit economic standpoint. I'm not saying to go crazy and like rip open your caps all the way, but you can go as hard as you want here. Totally dependent on your risk assessment. All right, and let's talk about post-sale optimization. So the exact same reason that we open up our cost controls before a sale are the same reasons that we will sometimes over-tighten our cost controls after a sale, because the algorithm may not realize that the expected conversion rate is going to drop off a cliff after a sale. Because of this, you should signal to the algorithm that you don't want to spend as much and tighten up your cost control significantly post-sale, and even consider walking back your daily budget to a point that you're comfortable with. But generally post-sale, a lot of times you can hurt yourself if you accidentally let spend run way too hot and forget to tighten up and walk back your budgets. So super important there. All right, and that's it for this video on how to make Facebook ads optimizations in 2025. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.